I was listening, what a beautiful song. And I think it reminds us to kind of take a breath, let go. We know the only constant is change. Now, some of us have a great relationship with change. I'm not one of those people. At least I haven't always been one of those people. I've needed a lot of mentors and guides and teachers to help me get comfortable with the rhythm of life, and especially comfortable in the person I am. So I've looked and researched a couple of the little quotes here to share from a few of the mentors that have come up, but I can tell you, I really like who I am. I like being perfectly imperfect. I like the happy me and the cranky me and the creative me and the dull me. I like it because I know it's all the package of life. It takes a lot of change to let go of expectations and judgment. You know, when we're judging others, you see how many fingers we have pointing back at us. It's usually because there's a judgment in us. So we can tell how much we care and love ourselves when we look at how much we care and love the world. But it's all, when I really thought back about it, it's not about changing the outside, but it's about changing the space inside of you, the cool change, that you can let the goodness that's already in there blossom and grow. A quick question, just as a little test in that. How much do you like the person you're with when you're spending time alone? That will tell you how much change you have to do. Anyway, so here's one of my mentors, one of my more contemporary mentors that I've studied with more recently, several workshops and retreats. Mark Nepo, amazing poet, beautiful man. He says, each person is born with an unencumbered spot, free of expectation and regret, free of ambition and embarrassment, free of worry and fear, an umbilical spot of grace. I should feel it. An umbilical spot of grace, where we were first touched by God. That little spot where we were first touched by God. He said, this is a spot of grace that issues peace. So when we get all tangled up in the craziness of this external world, if we can take that time alone and touch that little spot of grace where we're first touched by God, we can start being the peace that we're speaking, that we talk about, like Gandhi said. Well, that's one of my more beautiful poetic mentors. One of my more wild mentors, and I know many of you have studied with her also. My daughter and I went up to mystery school up in Oregon for years to study with her. Jean Houston. She says, we have the extraordinary coded within us. And within us, right within us, waiting to be released. And she'd pound on you until you touched that extraordinary and did crazy, wild things to get into that place. But we're not the only ones. This is ancient wisdom that we're giving a new package to. But that, the mystics have always known. The ancient Greek philosophers always knew there's that goodness inside of us that wants to be revealed. We have a propensity towards goodness. The problem is we've also been given free will so we can shut it down. But it's there. It's interesting if we look at the world and change, and as I said, the only constant is change. And I think one of my favorite quotes the last few weeks has been, what does God do all day long? She lies on a maternity bed giving birth. The changeless is always creating and changing things. And I know Aristotle called that the unmoved mover. God doesn't change, but constantly changes everything. And you and I need to get used to being changed. Our bodies change because the physical has a process of change, but what's spiritual, as Marianne was saying, we live in a spiritual universe. What we're doing, the spirit within us, doesn't get old and tired and need to have the physical change. We want to change continually for the better, and we can do it at our own pace. looking at, Ernest Holmes said, I can't remember, I think New Design for Living was his book. He talked about that humans in our evolutionary process have gotten this enlarged brain that is much bigger than we need for our daily functioning. Are you getting it? So what in the world would it be used for? It would be used for new things, to create, to expand, to grow. We have that capacity. We've been designed for that. We've been designed for this change to happen within us. And I think part of that change, at least for me, was being able to shed the old expectations of who I thought I should be and be really comfortable in being who I'm designed to be. Because we're all that unique emanation of spirit. We're unique, every one of us. I mean, that great philosopher that is so universally loved, Dr. Seuss, said, "Today you are you, that is truer than true. And there's no one alive who is youer than you." And we've got to accept that. We have to claim that and own that we can really be the person that we're meant to be. So I think that's the change, that cool change that I want us to step into today. Now, I talked about the free will we have. We can stop that change. We can hold on to it. It's that divine urge in us that wants us to grow and become, blossom and grow. And we can stop it. And we live in this accumulated consciousness, the thought patterns of the old ways of fear and anxiety and judgment and hatred and all that stuff, and it's all around us, and we can hold on to it and live under that. You know, the Lakotas, the tribal wisdom of the Lakotas said, when you are riding a horse that you realize is dead, it's time to dismount. But too many of us get stuck, and we're on the back of these old ideas, and we're galloping around on things that just don't work anymore. We got to get over it. We need to get better and better and better. That's for us to do. There's always something more. There's always something more in life. Things are always changing, and so many of us hold on tight to the way we want things to be, or when we have it good, we want to hold on to that and never let it go. But remember, life is a journey. We learn from both the gifts and the suffering, the pain and the problems. We learn from it all. Now, our teaching is not just about fixing the problems. We're trained in prayer and the power of prayer and how prayer does change things when we change our consciousness, we tap into something greater. But we're also about expanding the good that's already present, right? Yes. Right? Yes. Okay, yes, because we've got to realize I'm here to expand that good that's already present. But it's a mindset we have to let go and become resilient. Thank you, Dr. Karen. We have to do that. Everybody be there, because that's one of the most important things for the world right now, is to have that resilience to be true to what we know is right and good. That goodness wants to evolve. In ancient Greece, there was a contest. It was a contest of wisdom to see who could find a sentence that would always be true. And one came up. And the winner was, "This too shall pass." Let's say that together. This too shall pass. It means the good and the bad, and the happy and the sad. This too, because we're in that beautiful flow of life. And that's what cool change reminded me of. To keep our cool, to keep moving and flowing and growing and accepting all of that. It's interesting, Marianne, when you mentioned mirror, I have life is a mirror, reflecting back to us what we, tending to think back to us what we think into it. The thing is, we're the image makers. We can't scratch, we could scratch. We could try to scratch a reflection out of the mirror, but we could also put a new image in front of it. And it was Qui-Gon Jinn, the Jedi Knight from Star Wars, who said, "Your focus becomes your reality." And you and I have to think about, what are we focusing on, especially when we look in that mirror. Are you saying, "Good morning, mirror. Where's your smile? Only after a cup of coffee or two, but yeah. I mean, what is it we have to think about? What are we putting out there? Because if we put, as you said, Marianne, if we're putting hatred, anger, judgment into that mirror, love cannot reflect back. It can't come back to us if we're putting out energy that's so tough and hard and difficult. We have to be sure we're in the flow of that goodness that wants to be revealed. I would like all of us right now to think of something you like. Think of something you like. Think of something that's good. We had a practitioner meeting yesterday that Reverend Janet led for us. It was a little peek into the Virtues Project. It was a little peek into that she wanted to get us all on board for today. And oh my gosh, there was not one person who didn't leave there more open, more expanded, and more remembering and connecting that we're all in this together. We're all in this together because we focused on the bright spots, the points of inspiration that bring us together, that pull us together instead of take us apart. Thank you, Reverend Janet, and thank you, Betsy, because you're going to take us even further into that this morning, which is so beautiful. Goodness is the only investment that never fails. You can invest in goodness, and guess what? You'll always be a success. It was Emmett Fox who said, if you could only love enough, you would be the happiest, most powerful being in the world. So that's our point. I really want all of us today really to find more time in our life, to find strength in God and goodness, to always realize there's something more that wants to be expressed through us and as us. Always something. No matter what's going on out here, there's something more for us. Ernest Holmes said, love covers a multiple of mistakes. It's a way that we can really come together and do our work and remember that we do belong to each other. And truly, we're here together and we're all just walking each other home. Let's take this moment right now and just put your feet on the floor. Open yourself up as we just close this piece of our morning in prayer and understanding. Right here, right where we are right now in this moment, there's something greater at work, something more. Help arriving right now for someone who needs it. There's something going on because life is moving, life is active, and we choose in this moment to be open and available to stepping onto an open, clean slate of goodness that we can stand on, letting go of what's no longer needed, what we don't need, so we can be nourished and refreshed and open and blossom and become something even more. And as the flower doesn't call for the bee, but the bee finds the flower when it is open. As we open to our next greatest part of ourselves, we know we're attracting the people, the places, the things, the ideas that we need in this moment to move forward in grace and ease. We know that what we need is within us right here, right now. How blessed we are. And we know too, as we share, as we love one another, as we give of ourselves to make this world a brighter place, it can't help but to shine brighter back upon us. How blessed we are. It is at this time that we feel so blessed and honored to be here together, that we open ourselves to something even more. There is a power that comes from this unity together. As Margaret Mead said, never ever doubt that a small group of committed people can change the world, because indeed it is the only thing that ever has. As we let off that light of love, that light of goodness, that's the truth of our being, we make the light in this world so much brighter. We say thank you, God, and so it is. Thank you for being here and part of that good unfolding right now. And what's your motto for today? This too shall pass. I'm ready for change, and so it is.